Hello, my love. Welcome if you are new, and if you are returning, welcome back. My name is Montelle, and this is the channel where self-mastery meets work in progress. So if you love all things personal development, productivity, reinventing yourself, this is going to be the best channel for you. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of these selfish decisions that you almost have to make in your 20s. It is pretty much a non-negotiable that you have to make certain decisions, and the 20s is really a defining period in life where you're going to make some decisions that are going to upset a few people, are going to maybe cause you to distance or lose people along the way, but ultimately you have to do what's best for you in your life and your progression. I know that being selfish comes easier to some people than others. I know for myself, I am someone who is pretty selfless, and I do care for others, and I do want to accommodate where I can. However, I knew that there are certain decisions that I have to make for me because it's going to help with my growth. And the worst thing that you could do is live your life according to other people's expectations or standards, and then end up either being resentful towards yourself or towards that other person, or just having regret. You do not want to go through your life holding on to any feelings of regret or resentment, because it just makes you such a bitter person. And we've all seen it. We've all got that one uncle or auntie or that one old elderly person that you see, and they just have so much bitterness and hate, and you know it's because of maybe some of the decisions that they made along the way. Maybe they wasn't content with life, maybe something didn't go right for them. So you do not want to be making those same mistakes, and the 20s is really a year for exploration, adventure, really figuring out who you are as a person, figuring out what your standards are, what your values are in life, and molding your life according to that. So there are going to be a few decisions that you make early on in your life that are going to hurt, they're going to sting, they're probably going to feel very uncomfortable in that moment. But looking back through a wider lens, your future self is going to be so happy and so appreciative that you've made these decisions right now. So the first selfish decision that you're going to want to make in your 20s is being protective over your time and really choosing to spend your time as wise as possible. Now, the transition from our teenage years into our early 20s is such a huge shift in gears, because for a lot of people, they've gone from having an abundance of time to then not really having as much time at all. So when you are going through school, college, university, although yes, you are studying, you typically have a lot more free time because there's less responsibilities, and a lot of people maybe live at home or they have a student loan, so that's covered. So you're not really thinking about work or responsibilities or the future. You're just really just living in that moment for that time period. So when you do transition into the world of work and responsibilities and serious relationships, you realize that you have a lot less time available, especially if you have big ambitions and you've got goals to achieve certain milestones, whether that being your career, if you're building a business, if you are wanting to build a family. All of these commitments are going to start taking up more time. So you just don't have the same amount of hours as you used to have to maybe sit on the phone speaking for hours on ends with friends, or going to certain events that you've got no business going to, or partying every weekend. There's just not going to be enough time for that. So this is where you really have to prioritize and spend your time accordingly to the life that you are wanting to create. And it is a big realization that you have to go through. We all have to go through realizing we just don't see our friends as often, we just don't see our family maybe as often, we just don't have the time that we used to have because now we have those big girl commitments. So this is where you have to be selfish, and if you've still got people around you who are encouraging you to waste your time in things that no longer are serving you, then you have to really think about this and think, am I spending my time the best, or could I be doing something else? Instead of partying on a weekend, could I be working on my business? Could I be getting a few extra hours of studying in? Could I be learning a new skill? Could I be taking up a new hobby that's going to enrich my life in a better way than partying would? So it's really just about you being selfish with your time and where you are going to decide to spend it. And the right people around you are going to understand that, because they're also going to be working on their own things. Number 2 is your career path. So I definitely feel like there are many factors which influence our chosen career path, whether that is friends, peers, online peers, family is a big one. There are many things that may determine the career path we decide to go down. And I know that this is a case for a lot of people. They end up going down a career path that maybe they had no interest in, but they was forced into doing it by family, or maybe they've decided to follow a trend, or they followed their friendship group just because they didn't want to lose them. By not choosing a career path that is aligned to you, you're just going to end up feeling dissatisfied. Maybe as you get older, you decide to do a career change and you just realize that you've actually wasted a lot of time working towards something that was not destined for you. And I guess with this point, it could be a bit easier for me to say, because in my experience, I haven't been pressured by family or my community into a certain career path. I haven't been forced to do anything I didn't want to do. I really did have that freedom to really decide and figure out for myself what career path I want to go into. So it could be a bit easier for me to say. And I know it is quite difficult when you do want to please your family and you do want to make them proud, but ultimately family and loved ones, they should be proud of us regardless of what we decide to do in life. And there are so many examples of people who have gone against their family wishes or gone against what their friends were doing, and in the beginning it's always that same story. They're being questioned or pressured or guilt tripped or shamed by their decisions, and they're being told it's not going to work out for them. And then when that person sticks it through and they see success and they become a happier and a better person, their family always come back around and just show appreciation and how proud of them they actually are. So if you are someone who is experiencing this right now, it will more than likely be an uncomfortable decision. It is a decision that you're going to have to make, and it's going to feel very selfish at the time, but your happiness needs to come above all, and everything else will figure itself out. Number 3 is to move away from your hometown. Yep, you heard it correct. It's time. It's time to up and leave. I know you've been thinking about this. I know you've been considering it for some years. And I know the only reason you're still there is to please your family and friends. Is because it's comfortable, because it's safe, because you have that fear of the unknown. I know that all of these excuses are coming up for you right now, but I'll tell you what, if you do not make that move at some point in your 20s, you're going to regret it, because as soon as those responsibilities come, as soon as you're tied down to a relationship, a dusty relationship at that, as soon as you start having children, all of that, you're gonna wish you would have experienced life. I 100% believe that you experience the most growth when you leave your hometown, when you move out of your parents' house, when you travel the world. This is really what's going to help you define who you are as a person. And the longer you stay in your hometown, the longer you sit in that comfort, the harder it is going to be for you to navigate life. I believe that the most confidence comes from when you do move out and when you do have those new experiences. So when I first left my hometown and I went traveling, it really opened my eyes to so many different experiences, different people, different cultures, and it just allowed me to be a more wholesome person and to have more to share and to really just see a bigger picture of what life has to offer. When people tell me they have never left their hometown, they've never got on a plane, they've never even traveled to a different part of the country, I'm just like, how? This is not to say there's anything wrong with your hometown. I absolutely love my hometown, but I also know there's really nothing here for me. A lot of the time we outgrow our potential within our hometown because we've seen it all, we've done it all, we've been there. And again, especially if you live in a smaller town, if you can name all of the people in your community, if you know the same faces, if you see the same faces all the time, then that's how you know it's time to get out there. You need to widen your horizons. I do also value community, and I know that there's definitely a lot of power in having that community and support. But where I'm really going with this point is in your 20s, you want to be taking in as many opportunities and experiences as you can. So by you just living out your 20s in your hometown, you're not really experiencing the fullness of life and what it really has to offer. It's very likely that you're being influenced by the people around you. So I would suggest, even if it is just for a year, move out of your hometown, move to a different state, move to a different city. If you don't like it, fine, move back home. But at least you can say you've done it, you've given it a try, and you'll be going back into your community with a fresh perspective that is hopefully going to inspire people around you to uplift themselves as well. But it is also considered a selfish decision, because you're going to have those uncomfortable conversations with your family to tell them, yes, I'm leaving. And yeah, they're going to be sad about it, but they should. And yes, they are going to be sad about it, but they should also be happy for you. They should be happy that you are wanting to take on new challenges. Number 4 is having strong boundaries and being comfortable with saying no when a situation or an opportunity or a circumstance does not serve you. When you are in your 20s, it's so important to figure out what your boundaries are in life, what you're happy to accept, what you're not happy to accept, what you're happy to spend your time on, what you're not happy to spend your time on. And as soon as you clarify what these boundaries are, you need to be comfortable with saying no to people, whether it's loved ones, whether it's family, friends. When you say no to somebody else, it means that you are choosing yourself. And it is going to feel selfish, especially when maybe you are free at the time, so why would you not help somebody out? But if it's crossing your boundaries, then you do not have to. And if you're wondering, okay, but how do I actually figure out what my boundaries are? It's just questioning certain things and whether it feels good to you. If somebody asks you to do something and it doesn't feel good to you in that moment, but you say yes anyway, just to make them happy and to please them, then that's how you know that you are overstepping your own boundaries in order to comfort somebody else. So it's when you have that gut feeling that something isn't right, you don't want to do something, or it's not aligned to the direction you want to take your life, that's how you know that you have to set that boundary there and learn how to say no. On the opposite side, if it feels good, if it feels aligned, if it feels great, go for it. But if not, learn how to say no. Number 5 is being selfish when choosing your partner. This may not apply to everyone, but if you are in your 20s and you're working towards finding a long-term partner, then right now you may be seeing a few people, you may be dating a few people or talking to a few people. Remember that at that stage, you are not fully committed to them. You are not tied into anything yet. There's no ring, there's no commitment. So you can be selfish with the choices that you make, and that is really going to help you define what your values are when looking for a partner and what it is that you are actually looking for. I've had situations in the past that have made me realize that is definitely not what I want, and I've had situations that have made me realize, yeah, that is what I want. And from that, you're able to mold what kind of partner you are looking for, and you can be selfish with this. And I'm not saying be selfish with your partner when you find them. I'm saying be selfish around the partner you choose. Be selective. Find a partner that ticks as many as your boxes as possible. Now, of course, there's going to be compromise here and there, but the decision is ultimately yours. This is someone that you want to spend hopefully the rest of your life with. So you have to be selfish. You cannot allow another person to dictate your relationship or your standards or your boundaries. You have to be strong in that for yourself. So really think about painting the picture of who your ideal partner is. What are the qualities, what are the characteristics, what are the traits that they have, and work towards finding that person. And if you come across someone who doesn't fit that criteria, then be selfish and don't feel no way about telling them, sorry, this is not going to work out, and move on to the next. Number 6 is to protect your peace. And I feel like this naturally just becomes easier as you get older, especially mid to late 20s. It's like we're just over it. We've got zero tolerance. We're tired. Adulting is draining the life out of us. So we don't have time for anything that is not going to bring us peace. So when it comes to drama, chaos, toxic situations, we don't want any part of it. So in your 20s, be selfish about that. There've been so many situations that I've been in, whether I've been out somewhere and there's just chaos going on or there's just drama, I just remove myself. Certain jobs, certain conversations, just anything that is going to disturb my peace and my mental stability, I'm not here for it. So we really have to work on cultivating an environment for ourselves that brings peace, brings fulfillment, brings joy. Having the right people around, having the right relationship, the right career path, the right opportunities, the right home, everything should be worked towards bringing us peace. Number 7 is removing yourself from dead-end friendships. This is definitely a difficult area to tackle because friendship breakups hurt. They hurt so much. And the older you get, we all know you start to lose friends. A lot of those friends were acquaintances anyway, so distancing yourself isn't too much of a problem. But there are some friends that are probably a bit closer to us, and we just realize that our lives are on completely different paths, and this friendship is not serving anymore. We're not allowing each other to grow. We're not supporting each other. We're not on the same page. So you have to make that decision, which may feel selfish in that moment, to either distance yourself or completely remove yourself out of that friendship. I've been in this situation a few times. I've had some close friends who I consider to be sisters, even to this day, even though we are distant now. I still consider them to be sisters to me, but I just knew that at this phase in my life, how I've evolved in terms of my mindset and the person I am, I knew that that friendship just was not going to serve me. Almost every single time when I was meeting up with that person and I was just kind of hoping that they would have changed or they would have grown in some ways, I always just ended up feeling disappointed. And it took a few times of me going through that cycle of thinking that, yeah, they probably would have changed now, they've grown, and then just feeling disappointed and empty. I knew that this is not serving, so I have to put myself first and be selfish. As hard as it is, I have to let go or at least distance myself for now. And number 8 is to take risks and invest in yourself. You really want to be selfish with the opportunities that come your way. If you know that something is going to steer you towards the right direction of your life, be selfish and take that risk. Be selfish and invest in yourself. Invest in that course, invest in that program, invest in that degree, invest in moving countries, moving cities, invest in that relationship that you know is going to end up in a long-term happy marriage. Invest in yourself because you are worth it. As morbid as it is, we are born alone, we die alone. So what we choose to do with our time should really be for ourselves. And of course, a lot of the things that we're going to do in life are going to be giving back to our community and building those relationships and friendships and all those beautiful things in life. But also remember that you have to be happy throughout. So if you're building all of these external things but internally you're not feeling fulfilled, then that is going to show on the outside and it's going to affect everyone around you. So we all have to have a level of selfishness within us so that we can really give back to the people around us and to life and give it our best shot. That is it for this video. I hope you did enjoy. I hope you really think about this as well, because it is important for us to get to know ourselves and the areas where we need to be selfish. So if you've really thought about this and you're going to make some changes in your life, let me know down in the description what are some of the selfish decisions that you're going to make in the next few months. We're coming into the close of this year, so I want you to at least commit to doing one thing that is massively going to change your life. I will see you in the next one. Bye.